Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. Quick PSA story time video today. This is why we give estimates and we try to tell the customer ahead of time that things can change whenever we're trying to work up a price on what we're going to be doing. We do not want to be held to a price because we don't know what we're getting into when we take it apart. Sometimes we have a pretty good idea, sometimes we don't. What we got here is a 90 Chevy 1-ton, 2-wheel drive straight shift. You know, it's a work truck. You know, you see the work racks on the back. What we got in it is just an old 5.7 350 throttle body injected. So it's the older, simpler form to work on. Even a big guy like me can get up, put one foot inside and work on it. The reason the customer came up here is because we were drinking antifreeze. About, I'd say a gallon and a half a week. He used it for 2 weeks like that before you could let go of it for a period of time. But we had warned him. We've seen this on these things before. So we warned him that it might need heads. We've seen the insides of these things rotted out to the point where you had to replace the head. I've done a lot of head gaskets on them. I've only seen one set do that. But that was a big expense. So we warned him that was a possibility. He gave us a number that he had in his head that he thought it was going to cost. If it was just gaskets, that's awful high, but that was what he kind of had in his head anyway. I was figuring high because of the machine work involved in heads. And it's a good thing that I did, because here's what we found when we pulled it apart. Here's the offending side, and I found antifreeze on this plug. He was hydro-locking it. When you shut it off, he'd hydro-lock it. See if I can. You see that line right there? That stops at the valve seat. This is a valve seat that is pressed into the head. This is a crack. It is cracked to the cooling passage internally. I got that head yanked off and I saw that. I pulled the other head off and we inspected it too. I think we see a crack on the other head as well. It's just not as pronounced. I'm showing you the obvious one. We were able to source a set of heads for about $100 each, more than it would have cost us for the machine work to fix these old ones if they didn't have a crack in them. Aluminum heads are expensive to repair. Iron heads, you can repair them, but you have to know what you're doing. It makes it weak, prone to failure afterwards, and it is ungodly expensive. Aluminum heads don't have that issue. Once you weld them up, grind them back down, they're good to go. Cast iron is very delicate when you go to weld it. That's why you don't want crack repairs on any cast iron piece, because you have to really know what you're doing to do it. You have to be temperature controlled and all that jazz whenever you weld them up. You have to take the stress out of it so that it doesn't crack right away, all that kind of stuff, which some people just don't know how to do. So we just avoid that altogether. We've got the remanufactured heads here, and I'm going to go over them and see if I can see any weld repairs, because I've had that with this company that we went with, because they were about the only ones that we could get on fairly short notice for within the budget. So I'm going to go through them and see if I can see any obvious weld repairs and then get this thing put back together. But I wanted to jump on here and show you, this is something that we would not have been able to see unless we knew exactly what to look for, already knew it was there, you know, and then stuck a camera in there and possibly seen it. About the only way to see this stuff is to take it apart. And by that time, in for a penny, in for a pound, if you know what I mean. We've also got the radiator over to the local radiator shop getting flushed out, because if it is restricted, causing it to get hot, it'll blow head gaskets again. What we were warning him against is these ports right here. You see how close they are to the combustion seal. These will eat out internally due to corroded antifreeze, which is something we don't see anymore with aluminum blocks, plastic tanks on the radiator, all that jazz. It was because the cast iron with the brass radiator, it's two dissimilar metals, and you're running a fluid in between them. That's what is referred to as a battery. And what it does is it turns the coolant into kind of like an acid, because it runs an electric charge through it, the two dissimilar metals, and it's not much, because that's kind of how a battery works too. But it'll chew away at the insides of the cooling ports, and these right here are close enough to the combustion seal that they don't have to eat out much before they'll blow out. These actually look pretty good. That's why you want to keep your coolant changed on these older ones, because it builds an electric charge in the antifreeze. So now I wanted to check our new heads here, and I lined up the dowel pins just like that, and I took a Sharpie and marked the edge of the gasket. And as we drop them down here, we don't have a whole lot of sealing surface between the to cross this compression ring right here. The old heads here have witness marks where the compression ring was running. You can tell this one here is right into the ring. It is extremely close. I think this was the cylinder on that one that was 8 clear out, that this port here was the one that was bad. So maybe it's just more water flows through this port than any others. Number 4 is the one that it is. So, yeah. I don't know why it would be specific to this when they're all the same and the water pump is clear up front, so I don't know. But I wanted to see on the, those are reman heads. They're not brand new. They got new valves in them, surfaced, valve job done. But yeah, they're reconditioned or reman or whatever. And I had to look them over really good, make sure there weren't any weld repairs or cracks in the new ones, so that we weren't going to be bolting on a problem. So I'm going to go back together with this truck. This is just one of those things where you've got to go with the most cost effective, not the cheapest, the most cost effective repair for your customer. That's all I have for this video. It just some explanation as to why some mechanics are really hesitant about pinning themselves down on a price, and why you should always listen to them when they're saying depends on this, as long as this is okay and all that kind of stuff. They don't know until they get in it. That's why you don't want to price shop too much. You will price yourself out of a good money-saving mechanic, because he might be giving you a price that's high because he's actually telling you what's likely to happen, while the other guy over there, he just needs to get you in the door. Beware. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. I'll talk to you later.